Archangel Michael says, I am giving you final chance to receive $15 million. This time will not come again. If you don't open this on 24st June 2025, you won't receive the money. Open it now. My beloved child, listen carefully. If you trust in God, type Amen. You didn't come across this message by accident. No scroll, no click, no pause was random. This moment, this exact second, is divinely orchestrated. Heaven has waited patiently for your soul to be still enough, your spirit quiet enough, and your heart soft enough to hear these words. Now, finally, the timing is perfect. And the door has been opened. Archangel Michael says, this is the final invitation. The last divine window before heaven transitions from offering to outpouring. This is your miracle moment, and I am standing beside you, watching, hoping, ready to move when you believe. You've carried a weight no one else could see. You've stood in silence while your dreams quietly crumbled. You've given more than you received. You've held back your tears when your heart begged to break. And all this time, while the world overlooked you, heaven remembered you. God has not forgotten a single detail. Not the late-night prayers. Not the moments you gave without being asked. Not the times you swallowed pain just to keep peace. Every sacrifice has been recorded. Every hidden ache has been counted. And now, heaven is responding, not with pity, but with provision. The miracle attached to this message isn't small. It's not symbolic. It is $15 million in spiritual blessing, released, assigned, and already marked with your name. Archangel Michael says, this miracle is heaven's way of publicly blessing what you have privately endured. It is not payment, it is restoration. Not luck, it is prophecy. But here's the truth, this miracle can't arrive in chaos. It needs space. It needs faith. It needs your spirit to open the door wide enough for heaven's delivery to fit. You must believe that something this good is meant for you. Because it is. Not because of your perfection, but because of your endurance. This is not about deserving. It's about destiny. Michael continues, you have cried for breakthrough, and now breakthrough cries for you. It has traveled across timelines. It has crossed spiritual boundaries. It is looking for the one who still believes despite the betrayal, who still gives despite the loss, who still loves despite the scars. That person is you. And the miracle? It is massive. It carries more than money. It carries meaning. It carries renewal. It carries the future you stopped imagining because life hurt too much. But now heaven says, dream again. Open your hands again. Prepare your heart again. Because what you thought was over is just about to begin. This $15 million miracle is symbolic of more than finance. It represents favor. Divine reversal. Heaven's declaration that you are seen, loved, and chosen. So do not scroll away. Do not doubt this. Do not shrink from what was always yours. Michael is not here to warn you. He's here to welcome you into something greater than you ever dared to ask for. This is not hype. It's your healing. Not noise. But a new name being spoken in heaven. You. The one who stayed. The one who hoped in silence. The one who believed one more time, even when everything inside whispered, "Don't." Heaven saw that. And heaven has responded. There's something you haven't told anyone, a voice you heard when you were alone. It didn't sound like thunder. It didn't shake your room. But it moved your soul. It came during a quiet moment, maybe when you were washing dishes or lying awake past midnight. It wasn't loud, but it echoed. And even now, you remember how it felt. You may have thought you imagined it. You may have convinced yourself it was your own thoughts trying to comfort you. But heaven speaks in whispers, and that whisper was real. That was the moment Archangel Michael leaned into your space, just close enough to breathe peace over your pain. Just enough to plant hope into the broken soil of your spirit. And now he speaks again. The miracle is waiting, but your belief is the signature that allows heaven to release it. Not a belief in a number. Not in luck. But in yourself. In your worth. In your readiness to receive without guilt. So many times you've prayed with hesitation. Asked with apologies in your heart. If it's not too much to ask. If I'm not being greedy. If I'm not mistaken, and heaven has wept. Because it's not greed to want healing. It's not pride to ask for provision. It's not wrong to say, "God, I need something big." You weren't meant to crawl through life. You weren't created just to survive. You were made for miraculous living, and Archangel Michael says this moment is your invitation back into that identity. That $15 million miracle? It's about more than wealth. It's about witness. God is preparing to use your story as a declaration of grace. People who saw your struggle will now see your rise. But not to make them jealous, to show them what divine timing looks like. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to stay positioned. Don't move out of alignment because it's taking time. Don't speak doubt just because things still look ordinary. God does His best work in silence. And right now, heaven is constructing the foundation of a blessing so large, it couldn't come all at once. Your life is being redesigned, not by man, but by eternity. Michael continues, I saw when you said yes in your heart. I watched the battle between fear and faith, and still, you chose to believe. And now, I've been commanded to protect the miracle on its way to you. Nothing will stop it. But you must remain open. Trust what you cannot see yet. Because the miracle isn't lost. It isn't stuck. It's on the way. And so is your next confirmation. The one that proves this message wasn't just coincidence, but confirmation. And when it comes, a word from someone unexpected, a number you see repeatedly, a dream that makes your heart race, don't ignore it. Say yes again. Speak it out loud. Seal it with gratitude. Heaven is listening. And the next move belongs to you. You've waited so long that the silence started to sound like rejection. You prayed, you fasted, you gave even when it hurt. And when the breakthrough didn't show up on your timeline, you assumed it wouldn't come at all. You thought maybe the miracle was for someone else, someone holier, someone luckier, someone better positioned. But Archangel Michael says, the delay was never denial. It was divine design. You see, heaven was never ignoring you. Heaven was protecting the miracle from arriving before your heart could fully carry it. Because this isn't just money. This is legacy. This is what shifts the direction of your family, your children, your name. And God will not pour eternal oil into a cracked vessel. So the pause? It was for your healing. The wait? It was for your wisdom. And now? Now you are ready in a way you've never been before. Your spirit has been softened. Your eyes have been opened. You no longer crave just comfort, you crave calling. And that is why this miracle is returning, not with noise, but with certainty. Michael says, I was assigned to hold your blessing in the realm of spirit until your faith could stretch wide enough to catch it. Every time you cried and chose not to quit, I moved. Every time you felt forgotten and still whispered a prayer, I moved. And now I'm moving faster than ever. The miracle, marked with your name, has been cleared in heaven. But it must be confirmed on earth. And the way you confirm it is not by hustle. It's by agreement. You must agree that you are not cursed. You must agree that your past doesn't disqualify you. You must agree that you are worthy of miracles not because you're perfect, but because you are still willing to believe. Heaven doesn't bless those who earn it. Heaven blesses those who receive it with a willing heart. You're not just about to receive money. You're about to receive validation, vindication, vision. You're about to be restored from the inside out. Michael says, watch what happens in the next 3 days. There will be signs, divine encounters, strange coincidences, all pointing toward this truth: your drought is over. But you must stay awake. Don't spiritually sleep on what you've waited for all this time. This is the moment your prayers begin to unfold. This is the confirmation you asked for in secret. This is not the end. It is your activation. So speak this aloud: I agree with heaven. I align with faith. I receive what was always mine. And then, watch what happens next. There are places your feet have not walked, but your name has. There are rooms you've never entered, yet your story has already arrived there. Because when heaven favors a soul, it sends angels ahead of time. And Archangel Michael says, your name has been whispered in the courts of heaven. Not in shame. Not in judgment. But in favor. In blessing. In divine preparation. For years, you thought you were invisible. You assumed the silence meant heaven had forgotten you. You watched others rise while you stood still. You celebrated other people's breakthroughs while quietly wondering when it would be your turn. You swallowed your sorrow in secret, not because you didn't believe, but because you were tired. Tired of being next in line but never called. Tired of holding faith like a burning coal while everything around you felt cold. But the truth is, the delay wasn't silence. It was sacred strategy. God wasn't ignoring you, He was clearing the path, removing the counterfeit blessings, and designing a miracle that wouldn't just fill your hands but heal your history. Michael says, the money you're about to receive isn't just for luxury, it's for legacy. It will flow into areas you didn't even know were empty. It will rebuild trust, repair broken bridges, and create a future that restores what was stolen from your bloodline. You thought it was about finances. But it's about freedom. You thought it was about material comfort. But it's about spiritual restoration. This money carries the energy of answered prayers, of promises once made by your ancestors who didn't live long enough to see them fulfilled. But heaven keeps receipts. Heaven doesn't forget the ones who prayed for you before you ever knew you needed prayer. You may not realize this, but someone in your family, someone long gone, asked God to bless their children's children. And you, right now, are the living answer to that plea. This isn't about luck. This is lineage. The miracle is generational. That's why the enemy tried to stop it. That's why life tried to distract you, discourage you, depress you. But you survived every season for a reason. You kept going, even with a bruised soul. You kept hoping, even when you didn't understand. And heaven saw all of it. Michael says, every tear was counted. Every sleepless night was witnessed. Every time you clapped for others while grieving in silence, it mattered. You were not being tested to be punished. You were being prepared to be trusted. That's why this moment is sacred. That's why you were led to this message. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were brought here because it's time. Time for the miracle to land. Time for the favor to flow. Time for the inheritance to be unlocked. Say it out loud, even if you whisper, I receive it. That sentence might sound simple, but in heaven, it's a key. And right now, Archangel Michael stands watch as doors begin to open, not just around you, but within you. Doors of trust. Doors of joy. Doors of divine clarity. You're not lost. You're not late. You're exactly where heaven intended you to be. There are moments in life when everything seems quiet, too quiet, as if heaven has gone silent and forgotten your address. But the truth is, the silence is not forgetfulness. It's focus. God has been working behind the curtain, preparing a stage so divine, so specific, that when it opens, you won't doubt for a second that it was for you. Archangel Michael says, this isn't just a random blessing floating through the heavens. This miracle was written with your name carved into its foundation. It remembers your struggle. It remembers your loyalty. It remembers you. There were nights when you went to sleep hungry, not just for food, but for peace. Hungry for hope. Hungry for someone to see you, believe in you, remind you that it's not over. And even when no one came, you held your breath and whispered faith into the darkness. That whisper echoed into eternity. That whisper reached heaven's court. That whisper stirred something in the heart of the Almighty. And heaven took note. This miracle, this $15 million blessing, it's not just money. It's a message from heaven. It's proof that you were never forgotten. It's a divine receipt stamped with every ounce of faith you poured into the days when life made no sense. And now, God says, it is time. Time to rise from the shadows of struggle. Time to walk into rooms you once thought were locked. Time to live in the freedom you long prayed for but never dared to expect. Michael says, there are people who laughed at your delay. They mocked your struggle. But they didn't know that heaven was watching the way you responded. You didn't retaliate. You didn't curse. You didn't become bitter. You chose to remain gentle. And now, the God of justice has spoken. What was delayed will now be delivered, with interest. This money will not just fix bills. It will mend emotional wounds. It will allow you to breathe again. It will give you back time that was stolen by survival mode. You'll no longer have to measure groceries against rent, or dreams against debt. You'll finally have room to rest without guilt, to give without fear, to live without limits. This miracle is not for vanity, it's for victory. And yet, the most sacred part of this blessing is not what you'll receive, but who you'll become. You'll become the one who heals your bloodline. You'll become the testimony that others didn't believe was possible. You'll become the proof that faith works. That God still answers. That miracles have memories. And they remember those who dared to believe in silence. Say this with conviction, my name is not forgotten. My miracle has not expired. My blessing is arriving, right on time. Let these words be the bridge between your waiting and your receiving. Let this message remind you that God's timeline is never late, it's just precise. And if you are reading this now, it means you are on the edge of that precision. Don't flinch. Don't doubt. Just receive. You may have felt invisible. You may have cried alone, smiled through heartbreak, and cheered for others while your own hands remained empty. But heaven saw all of it. And Archangel Michael says, even when the world didn't see you, we did. Even when no one stood beside you, heaven stood guard. There are moments in your past you try to forget, times when you were down to your last coin, last ounce of energy, last strand of hope. But you didn't break. You didn't curse your fate. You whispered, God, just help me hold on. And that prayer didn't vanish into thin air. That prayer became a location tag for angels. Every time you felt unseen, angels were writing your name on the walls of heaven's strategy room. And today, that strategy has come full circle. Michael says, we've marked your door. Just as the Israelites were marked for protection, you have now been marked for provision. Your name has been signed on a document in heaven that releases $15 million not only into your hands, but into your history, into your children's future, into your community, into your healing. This isn't a transaction. This is transformation. This isn't just financial freedom. It's identity restoration. Because somewhere along the way, life tried to convince you that you were a mistake. That you asked for too much. That maybe God only worked for other people. And still, you hoped. Still, you helped others even when you needed help yourself. Still, you showed up, carried the weight, stood in the gap for people who never even said thank you. And all of it, every silent act of love, every small act of faith, has been turned into divine currency. Heaven is repaying you now, pressed down, shaken together, running over. This miracle money is not just a blessing. It is a weapon in the war against every lie spoken about your worth. Every delay that tried to steal your identity. Every door that shut while you stood in front of it with dreams in your hands. The door is opening now. Not because of who you know. Not because of what you've done. But because of who God is, and who He says you are. Michael whispers again, you have been chosen. Not because you're perfect, but because you are ready. This time, the door won't close on you. This time, the blessing won't pass you by. This time, what has your name on it will finally stay in your hands. Say this boldly, I am ready to receive what God has already written with my name on it. Now breathe. Really breathe. Because what you've carried all this time, the pressure, the prayers, the persistence, has finally brought you here. To the doorway of divine delivery. And this time, it's not a false promise. This time, the angels have already been dispatched. This time, you won't be left behind. There are certain blessings so sacred, so tailor-made, that they cannot be rushed. They arrive when your soul is mature enough to carry their weight with wisdom, not fear. And Archangel Michael says, "Heaven did not withhold from you to punish you, heaven waited, because your spirit needed to grow strong enough to protect what was coming." And now that moment has arrived. The moment where God trusts you with more than just provision. He trusts you with divine inheritance. The $15 million miracle isn't just a number. It's a memory. A restoration of all the times you gave without getting back. All the birthdays you celebrated for others while quietly mourning your own loneliness. All the years you worked tirelessly, often unseen, unacknowledged, but still faithful. It's not just money. It's recognition. It's a thank you from the heavens that says, "We saw you, even when no one else did." Michael says, there was never a moment your name wasn't on God's lips. But God waited until your soul stopped begging for crumbs and started standing for crowns. You used to pray for just enough to survive. Now, you're being trusted with overflow. Your life is about to overflow with opportunities you never applied for. Relationships you don't have to chase. Peace that doesn't come with a price tag. And all of this is part of the miracle. Because true prosperity is not just in the bank, it's in the breath. In the ability to wake up without dread, to sleep without fear, to walk into rooms knowing you are not an imposter, but an invitation. God says, "I am giving you what the world tried to convince you would never happen. I am giving you back your voice, your joy, your certainty. And yes, I am giving you the wealth that was written in your scroll before you were even born." This is not karma. This is covenant. You are not lucky. You are loved. Michael continues, every obstacle you faced trained your spirit for this elevation. You are not being promoted randomly. You are being rewarded righteously. Heaven is a just system. And you, child of destiny, are its living proof. You no longer need to convince others of your worth. The fruit in your life will speak for you. And when they ask how it all turned around, you'll remember this moment. This message. This voice from the heavens that told you, you were never forgotten. So say it aloud, I am the one heaven trusted. I am the one the angels waited for. I am the one this miracle was always meant for. Breathe into that truth. Let it wrap around every tired place in your heart. Let it awaken every dream you buried because life taught you not to expect too much. Let it remind you, the God who started your story has just begun your reward.